It's a sad, sad day, guys.
I don't think any of mine are up here. I never finished these.
We didn't do this in this class.
We
Okay.
did something like this.
Right, but not this one. When we do our next color sheet, I will hang yours up if you actually do it.
I would.
All right, now trapezoids are a four-sided figure, which means it's part of the quadrilateral family. But it is not a parallelogram, because for it to be a parallelogram, opposite sides have to be parallel. Now, this top one and this bottom one are parallel, but those two are not parallel. Now, what do we use instead of the word same side? Consecutive. Good. Take a point. Can you please get that out of your mouth? Thank you. All right, so consecutive angles add up to be 180. Now, please pick a letter. And? And? All right, so this is our trapezoid. It says, excuse me, so sorry. Consecutive angles add up to be 180. So that means like Z and F. Those two are the consecutive angles that would add up to be 180. What else could add up to be 180? Based on the fact that I said Z and F, what else?
R and W.
R and W. Take a point. We're going to talk about those. Because with trapezoids, very special things happen.
Because it's a trap,
All right, we ready? Now, there is a special kind of trapezoid, which is called an isosceles trapezoid. And that's what happens when you have two congruent legs and two parallel bases. So for your legs to be congruent, you have to have tickies. So we have the SR is congruent to TU. Does everybody see that? All right. And then it also says that our bases are parallel. Now, when your bases are parallel and your legs are congruent, that means that each pair of base angles is congruent. So that means that angle R is congruent to what angle? Which one is it?
U.
It's U. Because these are both on this base. Now, also, since it's isosceles, angle S would be congruent to angle T.
of course.
Is everybody with me so far? So if angle R is 30, what's the measure of angle U?
30.
What would the measure of angle S be?
15.
I don't even know. I'll get something.
What?
We know that consecutive angles are supplementary. So S and R are consecutive angles. If this is 30, what's this? 150. What would T be?
150.
That's it. That's all you got to do. That's isosceles triangles. Are we ready? Does anybody have a question? If SR is 10, what would TU be in this situation?
170.
It would be 10. Take a point. Because
Wow.
SR is a side.
Okay.
Why are you hollering at me?
I ain't charging my phone.
Take your headphones off.
How?
SR is a side.
Okay. It's a sign.
And you see how they have tickies?
Yes, ma'am.
That means that the sides are what? You don't know what tickies mean?
Oh, he about to say it, congruent.
Yep.
So they equal the same thing?
Right.
So 90?
Alright, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
If SR, this side length, is 10, what's this side length going to be? Okay.
Okay, where you get 10 from?
I made it up.
Wow. Wow, cause,
As an example.
okay, but like you give us a problem, we'll have to make up our own numbers. What you saying?
It's already gonna be numbers on it. What did you talking about?
What logic is this?
And y'all say I got problems. Okay. We found somebody?
All right, are we ready? Now, I don't even know what to do with that. Let's look at our examples. For this example, it tells us that angle A is 125, and we are going to say that this is an isosceles trapezoid. So AC would be congruent to what? All right, put tickies. Now, if angle A is 125, what does that mean for the measure of angle B?
It's 125.
It's 125. Now, does it ask us for B or does it ask us for D? Okay, so how could we find the measure of angle D?
180.
Well, oh my gosh, guys, you finally get to use 180, and aren't you so excited? 180 minus 125 is
55.
55 degrees.
I use it all the time. I just don't think
AC is 55.
You should only use it on angles. And C is 55. Take a point.
That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Hello.
Eric, are you with me? Can you get with me? Thank you. All right, are we ready for number 2? Now, number 2 asks us for the measure of angle L. Now, what do we know about JM and KL? They're congruent. So that means this is an isosceles trapezoid. So if K is 40, what's J going to be?
40.
But that doesn't help us find L, does it?
No.
How can we find L?
Subtract.
Subtract from what?
90.
Have we said anything about 90 on isosceles trapezoids?
180.
180. And what's 180 minus 40? 140. So what would angle M be? 140. Do we need to do another one, or do we feel okay for the mo? We're good? Okay. We'll see how y'all do tomorrow on your checkpoint on trapezoids. You could just do your homework.
I'm putting in my 2 weeks now.
All right. Let me know how you like it in another class.
Ain't nobody better than this up there.
Ain't nobody. No, I was gonna be mean. Never mind. I was gonna call what you said.
Stop. Stop. Okay, now let's look at mid-segments of trapezoids. Now, a mid-segment is not an angle. So what are we not ever going to set it equal to? Or? Okay. So in this part, when it talks about mid-segments, do not set it equal to 90 or 180. Does everybody understand?
I think we should write that down because somebody don't do it anyway.
Okay. Don't set it equal to 90 or 180. Alright, now, a mid-segment is parallel to each of our bases. So what should we put on our mid-segment here? Should we put a ticky or an arrow? An arrow, because they're parallel, not congruent. Now, give me a letter.
D.
Give me another letter.
D.
And?
E.
And?
A.
You did try. And I just shut that one down real quick. SEXR. Because we're 5. Now.
Oh, I get it.
Sebastian.
Okay.
All right. Now.
That's how you spell it.
Right, that's the...
I don't get the joke.
All right, let's move on to our mid-segments. Now, this says that the measure is average of the bases. So what does it mean to average the bases together? What would you do? What does the word average mean?
You add them together and divide by 2.
Add it up and divide by how many? Divide by how many you have. How many bases do we have?
We have 1, 2.
We have 1 base and we have 2 bases.
That's
So
3.
we would add base 1 to base 2, and then we would divide it by 2.
That's a formula.
That's all you do for mid-segment.
So we ran the formula.
Oh my god.
Well, what it look like, I ain't
Me too. Are we ready to practice?
Yeah, we just.
Are we sure? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Little Mermaid.
What?
He's on film.
Are we ready now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at problem number 3. Now this says that HJ is 32, so that's one of our bases, correct?
Yes.
And it also tells us that LK is 60. That's our other base. And it wants us to find MN. What is MN called? A mid-segment. Now, what would I do with 32 and 60?
Add and then
And
divide
then divide by 5.
And then divide it by 2. So you would do MN equals HJ plus LK divided by 2.
by the letters.
There's a reason we're writing it down, but it's fine if you just did the numbers.
I want to see the cream.
Now, what it... Please don't make me smack you. What is HJ?
32.
And what is LK? And what's 32 plus 60?
92.
And 92 divided by 2 is? Look at that. That's it. That's all we do.
Jesus, that, oh my God.
Aren't trapezoids so much more fun than all the others?
I think it would be because they write key.
Well, really, it's because we've done a whole lot of work on quadrilaterals for 2 weeks now that I feel like we can handle this.
We should start this first.
Right.
Why?
That is easy.
All right, let's look at this one. This tells us that HJ is 18 and MN is 28, and find LK. Now this time, are we finding an L? Are we finding a mid segment or a base?
A base.
A base. But can't we use the same formula and just plug everything in? Isn't there a reason that I write stuff down? It's crazy. So what's MN this time? 28. Take a point. What is HJ?
18.
Take a point. What is? We don't know what LK is. And we divide it by? Awesome. Take a point.
You gonna stop yelling at me.
Now, we have a fraction, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And fractions are just what?
Numbers that we're not
Just trace.
What mathematical operation are fractions?
Division.
Division. And what's the opposite of division?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So what would we multiply both sides by to kill this 2? 2. What's 2 times 28? Take a point. Oh, Blair. And then what will I do to get LK? Subtract 18.
Oh, yeah, 18.
Okay. That's okay. And LK is? Well, baby cakes, tell me what that is.
Okay.
38.
Do we agree or disagree?
Let me just look at this problem for 1 second.
If you wouldn't have been talking at the beginning of it, you would be on the same page with us. But
I was
you,
just trying to see.
pretty sure you're missing the point of what I'm saying to you. But cool.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, did I have 2 pictures? Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, how you doing? My name is Vicky. Yes, I'm talking to people. I'm judging.
We ready? Nazara, have you looked at it enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? Does anybody have any questions on trapezoids before we go further? Are you sure? We ready to look at kites?
Where you get that 2 from?
What's a kite? What's on your flag now?
Remember that formula that we wrote down?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. All right.
It's okay. Or you can just put them in a box and ship them to Africa.
because he's black?
Yep.
How
We're gonna take it to Asia. Let's see how long he lasts.
long do you... Blair, stop.
Bamboo sticks.
Alright, now, on my ham sandwich.
I don't get it.
Just, you don't need to,
You
baby.
don't get
You're fine. Alright, let's look at a kite. Now, if you have a kite, what do you know about the top two sides?
It
They're
flies.
triangles. They're right.
He's such a blunt.
Aren't we all?
Okay, guys. If this is A, and this is B, and this is C, and this is D, and this is E, what I'm asking you is, what do you know about AB and AD? Boy, I'm just talking about AD and AD. They don't make a triangle, they make the top of the kite.
You need here.
Okay, put Ziggy's. Who to help us? What do you also know about BC and DC? Are they congruent to AD and AB? No. There's something wrong with you. Now, it also says that our diagonals are perpendicular. So what does that mean about angle E?
It's 90 degrees.
It's 90 degrees. Thank you. Take a point.
You welcome. Remember to add.
Why are you the way you are? And then it says exactly one pair of opposite angles is congruent. So if this is 30 and this is 75, B and D have to be what? If these are not congruent, B and D have to be congruent. That's all I'm asking, guys. That's it. That's all I'm asking. And it's amazing what happens when you actually listen. And what is the sum of all of the interior angles for this? What? 360, because it's a quadrilateral. So the sum is 360. Write that down because it's a quadrilateral.
All quadrilateral.
Yes,
Been over this.
we have. Are we ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Positive.
We may even be done before the bell rings for
Either
once.
one. You're right.
I act like we worked really hard in here. No.
Brain does. It hurts.
Number 1, it says the measure, it says humana. It says that this is a kite, and we need to find the measure of Z. Now, are angle W and angle Y the same thing? So what does that mean for Z and X? They're congruent. They're going to be the same thing. So we're going to call this A, and we're going to call this A. Now, what would we do with all of those angles on the inside? Add them and set it equal to? Take a point. So we have A plus 80 plus 60 equals 360. Make sure you have all 4 angles because it's a quadrilateral. Do it. They're up there.
After we subtract 140 from 360, we divide.
Because it's 2A, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, heck. Oh, hey. Stop hitting me.
What is wrong with you?
I have no idea. I think they should take her to. Okay, I went. They told me I was perfectly fine. Probably because I went and burned it. It's okay.
All I'm making is one more time.
You can't do that. So
He's getting his cup.
okay, princess.
What?
He can call me that as long as I can call him princess.
No, because that's what she called me. I will call her woman.
Hey, there's your hat.
I'm happy.
No, look here. The very bottom. A tiara.
Tough. Do you do 140 divided by?
And you just subtract it from 360.
140 divided by.
No, baby.
Okay.
Right here.
140.
Subtract 140.
Okay.
And you get 220.
And then you get one.
And now divide that by 2.
Oh, you're right.
110.
All right. And A equals
110.
110. Look at us go.
So
If
easy.
we
I
get
like
through
this.
with A, B, and C, we don't have homework. Y'all ready to do it? All right. For angle, Blair, you left it up here. You left it up here. All right. This is a kite, right? And it says find the measure of JRK. Look at your properties at the top. Don't say it. Give everybody a second to look at their properties and look at the kite that we drew our stuff on. What do we know about that angle? It's a right angle. They're perpendicular, so that means the measure is 90.
Oh.
All right. Now, it says for the next one that the measure of GHJ is 90 and GKJ is 110. So let's do 2 rainbows. This up here is 90. This down here is 110, correct? Find HGK. So if H and K are not the same thing, what do we know about G and J? They are the same thing. So if we're trying to find what this G is, we would need to add these together and set it equal to 360. So we're going to do this the easy way. We're going to do 2 times the measure of angle HGK plus 90 plus 110 equals 360. Now, the only difference in this one and what we did up here is that instead of writing A, I wrote the angle, correct? That's it. That's all I did.
But like, is it okay if we do it?
Yeah, you can do it the other way. Whatever makes your soul happy.
That makes sense.
Would you like me to change it to A?
I'm just too confused.
So if I wrote 2A plus 200 equals 360, correct? Then what would I do? Subtract 200. Good. And I get 2A equals? 2A is 160. So what is the measure of angle HGK? 80.
Oh, he's so freaking. Oh my God. Let me have a whole
Why is the next one 7?
Because they're cool.
Yes. Look at us go, guys.
With a whole 2 minutes.
Now, with those last 2 minutes, we're going to clean up under our desk. We're not going to leave any trash or any markers or anything on the floor or around us. And if you do, you lose all of your points today, and you get 5 extra points for us finishing early. Help clean up the table first.
I am.
Then you can get it. Help clean up the table, then you can get it.
Yeah. Print. I don't think you would be a